Before the world was divided by borders and languages, there was a village nestled deep in the heart of Africa. This village was blessed with fertile lands and bountiful harvests, all thanks to a mighty river that flowed through it. The river was the lifeblood of the village, providing water, food, and a sense of peace to the people. But this river held a secret that had been forgotten by all except the elders. Until one fateful night, when the river chose to speak. The village was shrouded in darkness, the moon hidden behind thick clouds. The villagers, weary from a day of toil, were fast asleep. But in the dead of night, the river's waters began to churn, as if awakened from a deep slumber. The air grew thick with a strange energy, and the village's silence was broken by a voice that seemed to come from the depths of the river itself. Return what was taken, or face the wrath of the forgotten. The voice was not loud, but it echoed through the village, reaching every ear. The people awoke, their hearts pounding with fear. What could this voice mean? What had been taken, and who was the forgotten? The elders, who had long ago whispered tales of the river's power, now gathered at its banks, their faces etched with worry. The village chief, an old man who had seen many seasons, stepped forward. "The river has spoken," he said, his voice trembling. "We must listen, or risk bringing a curse upon us all." But the villagers were confused, their minds racing to remember what could have angered the river. As the night wore on, the river's voice grew louder, more insistent. Return what was taken, or face the wrath of the forgotten. The elders spoke of a time, many generations ago, when the river had spoken before. It was said that the river was once home to a powerful spirit, a guardian who protected the village. But the spirit had been angered by a betrayal, something that had been taken from the river and never returned. The spirit had retreated, and the river had fallen silent, until now. Desperation gripped the village as they tried to understand the river's demand. Some believed it was a warning, others a call to action. But no one knew what had been taken or how to return it. The village chief, with the weight of his people's fate on his shoulders, made a decision. He would consult the ancient scrolls, passed down through generations, to find the answer. Days turned into nights as the chief and the elders searched the scrolls, and finally they found a clue. A tale, long forgotten, of a sacred object, a necklace made of river stones, blessed by the guardian spirit. It had been stolen by an outsider, a traveler who had come to the village seeking fortune. The necklace was never recovered, and the river spirit had retreated in anger. The village was thrown into a frenzy. They had to find the necklace and return it to the river, or risk the wrath of the spirit. But the traveler was long gone, and the necklace had been lost to time. The villagers searched everywhere, turning over every stone, scouring the riverbanks. Hope began to fade as the days passed without any sign of the necklace. But then, on the seventh day, a young boy, barely old enough to understand the gravity of the situation, was playing by the river. He noticed something shimmering beneath the water, caught between two rocks. He reached down and pulled it out, his small hands grasping a necklace made of smooth river stones. The boy ran to the village, the necklace clutched tightly in his hand. The villagers gathered, their eyes wide with astonishment. Could this be the sacred object that the river had spoken of? The elders inspected the necklace, their faces lighting up with recognition. "This is it," they whispered. "This is what was taken." With great reverence, the village chief led the procession to the river. The villagers stood at the banks, holding their breath as the chief lowered the necklace into the water. For a moment, nothing happened. The river was still, silent. But then, the waters began to glow, a soft light emanating from the depths. The voice of the river, now calm and gentle, echoed through the village once more. Peace has been restored. The forgotten has been forgiven. The river returned to its normal state, its waters clear and tranquil. The villagers, their hearts light with relief, knew that they had been spared. The river spirit had forgiven them, and the village would continue to thrive. But the elders knew that this tale, this lost story of the river's wrath, must never be forgotten again. They passed it down to the next generation and the next, so that the river would always be respected, its power honored. And so, the tale of the river that spoke became a legend. a story whispered by the fireside, a reminder of the balance that must always be maintained between the seen and the unseen, the taken and the returned. Remember, dear listener, that the rivers of our world are more than just water. They are life, they are history, they are the voice of the land. And if you listen closely, you too might hear their stories, their warnings, their wisdom. Share this story, pass it on, so that the voice of the river may never be silenced again. If this tale has touched your heart, if the river's voice has stirred something within you, then don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, share it with others, and let the story of the river that spoke reach every corner of the earth. Together, we can ensure that this lost African tale is never lost again.